nothing to do. He needs to be helping the other ones.
True. Did I hear wasting money, wasting gas money, true. I agree on that part.
Like I said, if he's going 10 miles out the way every day, then it don't take long to wear out a set of tires.
And a lot of gas too. Gas ain't cheap.
Nah, she'll buy you.
No.
You know that little red bump out on that corner over there. Quit loving it.
It's not sore.
I don't care, quit loving it.
She came home in November. She went to the doctor and for a check. And the cancer was gone. And they started radiation. They left me here to radiation and chemo before that all broke.
There's one guy that drives an orange Mustang. When he leaves out of here,
His son must take a Dodge Charger.
oh, excuse me, I don't know where he comes from, but he drives that thing like he is going crazy. It was whine, a real loud noise. It's just so irritating. It was so irritating. I mean, you came and sit on your own front porch and enjoy anything, because it was a loud racket.
No.
What's
Oh, we did? Oh, tomorrow. Yeah, we do, yeah. I thought that, yeah, tomorrow, I thought we, a couple times, I thought that building's going to flood away.
Yeah, last one.
Somebody moved in here. I like having one of them shoes like
Where'd you
like
go?
that.
It's nice.
Oh,
Always off 15.
cruise. You ever been on one? We went on one for our 25th anniversary. We got 50 coming up soon.
Well, I said she wouldn't go on another cruise unless the boat stayed right there.
Are you? We still out of town.
That's cool.
Well, we flew. We flew to Tampa and got on the boat down there and then flew back to Charlotte. We went on our view of it.
That's what I want to do.
We wanna go with that, because it goes, you on the road for a while, then you're on a train for about 3 hours. Did you get to spend any time in New Orleans? You don't go down there. Be sure you, before you stay, I think everybody will experience that one time. I've been down there 4 or 5 times. I couldn't be there one time. We were walking down Bourbon Street. I stopped right there in the middle of the street now. And I said, now I want you to imagine what it would be like if you get this street up and move it to Landis.
Yeah, that would be
Next door. Hey, you take them? What's up? Man's got good life. Waxed it back. Just. Okay. I'll gamble. To the winner. I want it. I got so much money. I don't know. But thank you.
Howdy.
Who did we just hit from that one? Now, is that Gary's son? Okay. I don't know him, but I know Gary and Ronnie, Johnny. But George was.
I'm sorry, I don't want y'all to sit in the dark. I do believe the live stream is on. If you would like to speak, we ask that you sign up prior to the meeting. If you would mind doing so right here at the podium. Yes, sir. Don't mind. Hey. How are you?
Hey, sweetie, how are you?
I'm back.
Come in the house.
Come up this year.
Everyone pay close attention. Can you hear? I'm going to.
Hello?
Hello?
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How would you feel, bud?
Hey, Bud. How you doing? Hey, how are you?
Just checking this mic. Ooh, that is hot. Hello?
Wow.
Hello? Can you hear it if I stand like this?
Yes, sir. I mean, yes, ma'am.
You give up how you feel.
Okay, I'm going to test these. Can you hear us? They're pulled back kind of far. Hello? They're alive.
Can't wear that stuff in here. Can't wear that stuff. You know what we say down the line?
Okay, hold on just a minute.
Come on.
Yes, remember, this is our friend right here.
That's right.
Okay? This is our friend sitting right here.
We hang out. Don't say that.
What?
Say that.
Sharon, here's your new packet.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet
Thank you.
Landis? I'm good, thank you. How are you? Did you have anyone?
Just one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Oh, there you At this time, we will call the meeting to order. It's now 7 p.m. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you here. I appreciate you coming out. At this time, I will ask Brad McDaniels for our invocation, and we will go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Let's pray. Lord, we love you. Thank you, God, for the opportunity to be here tonight, Lord, in this great community. Thank you for our elected leaders, God. I pray that you would be with them, God, that you would give them wisdom. God, let their the words of their mouth, the meditation of their heart and mind be acceptable and pleasing in your sight. Lord, I thank you for Landis, this community that we all love and cherish. God, I pray that this community would be a safe community for us to raise our families, for us to enjoy the fellowship of one another. God, these meetings tonight are so important because it helps shape that community. So, Lord, I pray tonight that you would be with our leaders, both elected and those that are employees of this town. God, be with them, anoint them, bless them. Lord, I pray that they would know how much we appreciate them and how that behind closed doors we're praying for them and we're lifting them up. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to live in this great country, in this great state, in this great county, and in this great town. We give you honor and glory for all of it. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time, if you've had a chance to look over your agenda, we will stop the agenda at hand.
Mayor, I move we approve the agenda as listed in front of us.
Do I have a second? Any discussion on the agenda?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Thank you. At this time, we taking number 6, presentation of the 2018-19 audit.
Yes. Madam Mayor, members of the board, we do have our auditors here to do a presentation on the 2018-19 audit. And with that, I'll introduce Tony.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Tony Brewer. I'm a CPA that works for Eddie Carey. I've been with him for, about 11 years now. And we first want to thank the mayor and the board of aldermen for allowing us to be your auditors again this year. And we just want to remind you that we work for you guys. So our door is always open. If you ever have any questions, concerns, need things, questions asked, please feel free to give us a call. We understand the unique needs of a small municipality with needs of expertise. So we just want to remind you we work for you guys. Feel free to give us a call if you have any questions. For the audit binders before you, starting on page 1, you'll find the opinion. Now, the binder here before you is about 80 pages long, and you should have a guide we provided this year, and I'll go through that, and it'll help with such a big audit binder. But starting on page 1, you'll see the opinion. The town of Landis received an unqualified or clean opinion. And what that means is the financials before you, they fairly represent books and records of the town as of June 30th, 2019, based on our audit procedures. And after the opinion, starting on page 3 through 12, is the MD&A, or the Management Discussion and Analysis. And this is a section that's written in a more layman's terms. It talks about where the town is, a little bit about where the town has been, and it talks a little bit about where the town is going. And this is always a good place to remind you that your audit report is a public document. That any of your citizens can come in any time and request a copy. And the MD&A is a good place to start on because it is written in a more layman's terms. And right after the MD&A comes the exhibits, very technical. After the exhibits is the notes, and after the notes, starting on page 60, is the schedules, and that's where I would like for you to use your guide, because the schedules shows the detail behind the numbers. And this is where I would like to point out some high-level highlights concerning the numbers. Okay. You'll notice on page 60, starting with the general fund, page 60 through 65, you'll notice an increase in total revenue of $333,000. And this is mainly due to an increase in ad valorem tax collections, as well as local option sales tax increase. And as for the expenses in the general fund, the total governmental expenditures increased $90,000 for the year. The public safety, environmental protection, cultural and recreation expenses, they all decreased for the year. The main increase in expenses came in the transportation department, and that was mainly because of the road improvements and the purchase of 2 mowers in 2019. As for the bottom line increased $306,000 compared to a decrease of $170,000 in 2018. As far as the unassigned fund balance, the unassigned fund balance increased $275,000 to an amount of $302,000, or that's 9%. And what that means is, if you continue to spend at the same rate, you would be able to spend for 9% of the year. So you know what that means. After the general fund, starting on page 67, you'll see the stormwater fund. Expenditures were over revenues, $45,000 in 2019 compared to $2,000 in 2018. And this was mainly due to the capital outlay purchase of a boring machine, as well as park stormwater improvements for the year. Right after stormwater, starting on page 68 and 69, you'll see the light fund. You'll notice that the revenues for the light fund was up $347,000, while the expenditures were down $865,000 for the year. The bottom line increased $517,000 versus a loss of $380,000 in 2018. Now, the notable areas, you'll see the electrical purchases were down $246,000, and the capital outlay purchases were down $512,000. That's primarily due to the AMI meter purchases in 2018 was a great big number, 2018. After the light fund, you'll see the sewer fund starting on page 70 through 71. First thing you'll see is the revenues were up $240,000. Expenditures were down $290,000. The bottom line increased $98,000 versus a loss of $317,000 in 2018. Notable areas were capital outlay purchases were down $495,000 due to the purchase of a jet-back truck in the amount of $420,000 that was purchased in 2018. After the sewer fund, you'll see the water fund, pages 72 through 73. Revenues were up $180,000. Expenditures were down $15,000. The bottom line increased $204,000 versus an increase of $274,000 in 2018. The notable areas were the capital outlay expansion and improvements. They were up $73,000 in 2019, as well as there was a transfer to the sewer fund in the amount of $265,000 in 2019. Some other notable areas besides those numbers is collection rates. The collection rate for the town was slightly down from 97%, which is state average, in 2018. It was slightly down to 95.94% in 2019. Also, a notable area is the town of Landis' debt decreased $314,000. The town didn't take on any new debt in 2019. That decrease of $314,000, key factors were principal payments for notes payable of $438,000. Principal payments of general obligation bonds of $72,000, a decrease in compensated absences of $30,000, an increase in law enforcement separation allowance, which is called LEO, of $14,000, and an increase in net pension liabilities, which is local government retirement system of $212,227. Now, those are some high-level financial highlights, and if anybody has any questions, I'll attempt to try to answer.
Ms. Tyler, does anyone have any questions?
No, it's fine.
We thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the staff, everybody involved in getting all the information to us in a timely manner and give us the information that we need to make.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, at this time, okay, at this time, Mr. Barefoot will proceed with number 7.
Mayor and members of the board, we're asking you to consider authorization to bid focus funding recently appropriated for renovations to the Landis department. It's my understanding that
Leonard, can you bring that mic more, I guess, up to you?
I got a little bit of a cold, so I apologize for that. Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
I think either earlier in this year in the budget, it was approved to create a revenue stream to pay for constructing a holding cell at the PD. And current thinking has been that we really don't need a holding cell as such. There's some renovations that need to be done to the front door. Kevin and others reached out to folks who could repair the door to his former operation, which is pretty much electronic. But no one will give us it was more expensive. No one would give us a guarantee on its success. And thinking that, we decided to take a look at just replacing those doors with just normal opening doors. And we are led to believe that we can do that for a little bit less than $5,000. With respect to the holding cell, Kevin and I met and looked around and talked about the possibility of restructuring one of the rooms into an interview room that could also serve the purpose to allow, I think the original idea of the holding cell was for juveniles. It would allow us to use it as a place to have a child wait for a parent to come, but it also would better serve us as far as an interrogation room on the occasions when they need some. We don't know. We don't know the full price. We do know that, and do fully believe that we can make those changes within the budget that was set forth. And so for that purpose, we were just asking, for that reason, we're asking for you all to consider allowing us to proceed down that path of making those improvements.
Is there any discussion or any questions for Mr. Barefoot?
Yes, I have one question. As it relates to the original approved amount of $27,500, which was also then amended to add $15,000 to assist with the construction of the juvenile holding cell, do you propose that it will be less than what was approved within last year's budget, or this fiscal calendar year's budget?
Chief Young is here. He can help answer that question, but it's our belief that it can be done less than those appropriated funds. Yes.
And then the money that we have in the 27.5 and the 15 would also go towards fixing that front door, correct? Just so that we're all.
It would include the interrogation room changes, the bathroom changes, which were part of that,
right,
and have enough funds to repair the front door. That is our belief.
I did go over there today just so that, for myself, I like to know, I'm not going to come in here blind to what changes need to be made. So today I did go over there. Front door is not accessible. I mean, you cannot use it. It is a sliding door, just so that you know. It's not a door like these right out here. It's one door that is glass. It's kind of like a foyer area. The front door slides, and then there's an additional door that slides. So what it would be is the additional door, the second door, does still slide. What's that, Tony?
There was something.
Okay. So the second door does work. The front door does not work. The front door needs to be accessible for citizens, for if there's an emergency, they can come in there, they can talk to people. We need that to happen. So I do think that it's something that we need to do. Do you have a question, Mr. Boyer?
That money was already approved by it's already there, right? It was approved last year.
Yes, and then there was a $15 amendment. I mean, a $15,000 amendment made, added to in the November meeting.
It's my understanding that as they proceeded along to build and sell, the cost went up.
Correct.
I should tell you that the only expenditure made thus far was the purchase of 2 doors. And we'll use one of the doors in this renovation. We will have another door, but they're specialty doors and we can't send them back. We'll use one of the 2.
Any other questions for?
Mayor, I have no further questions.
Do I have a motion that we consider to repurpose the funding appropriated for renovations of the of the Landis Police Department?
Mayor, I make that motion that we authorize the repurpose of the funding for the necessary and appropriated renovations to the Landis Police Department.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion passes. At this time, we will move to number 8 with Mr. Barefoot.
Madam Mayor, members of the board, I have Lieutenant Charles Sheeks here. He will be able to answer some of your questions. I'll start us off. They're asking for the board to support a grant through the North Carolina Fire Marshal's office to buy equipment. The town is eligible for as much as $30,000 to be used for the purchase of certain equipment. You've got a list of those types of equipment in your package. The grant requires a 50-50 match with some local funds to make any of these purchases once they're approved. It's my understanding, and Lieutenant Sheeks will address this, they want to use the funds to replace outdated breathing apparatus. The deadline for submittal for the application is March 1st. And the recipients announced will be May 15th, which is before the next budget. So if the board authorizes the grant or vote to support the grant, then we'll just wait until May 15th. And if we get announced, we will put the money, we will be required to put the money in the upcoming budget. Because I believe that completion date is something like September.
I'd like to move, since we're so late in the game, it's going to be submitted by March 1st, right? It will be considered. This is almost March 1st. So we don't.
It's February the 10th.
Yeah, but March 1st comes up almost quick. It's got to be submitted in the next few days.
Okay, let's hear from Lieutenant Sheets at this time.
That's what I read.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Board. Again, this is going to be due on March the 1st. I already have the grant application actually filled out. It's an electronic application. It's ready to be submitted at the click of a button. Mr. Barefoot thought that it would be appropriate again to have this brought before you as a board to actually look over and see that this will actually wind up in the 2021 budget year is actually when this payment will occur. This grant has been applied for by the town of Landis Fire Department every year that I've been here the past 3 years, and we have not been awarded this grant. except for 2014. That was the last year that it was actually awarded. We do have numerous things, especially the SCBA, or self-contained breathing apparatus, that we're looking to put on this grant, just 5 out of the 24 that we actually are going to be needing to replace in the next couple of years, but we're trying to get that number kind of nulled down just a little bit so it won't have to come out of pocket so much. So that's why we're attempting this. I also put on there some other items that are outdated. Madam Mayor and Alderwoman Sells came by the other day and looked over the equipment with us, and I think we're very surprised to see the shape that it's in just over the years. Most of it is anywhere between 15 and 20 plus years old. And it's coming out of date for our lifespan as far as actually being able to utilize it in a safe manner. They will actually not recognize it for our insurance inspection. So in order for us to proceed to grow as a good fire department here, we need to obviously replace it, and to keep any other citizens from having their insurance go up on the next insurance evaluation for fire department, it's definitely something that we're going to have to make the purchase thereof, either by grant funding or put it in the 2021 budget as it stands anyway, so that we can hopefully lower, we're asking to hopefully go in and lower that what we call ISO rating or insurance evaluation, and without doing this, that's definitely going to go up. So that's something that we're looking forward to progression.
Can you tell us what our ISO rating is right now?
Yeah, our ISO rating right now is an ISO level 4. Level 1 is the best. A level 10 shows that you're unrated and uneligible to get insurance by any insurance provider. Level 9 is actually the minimum standard that you have to operate as a fire department. So we are above and beyond good as of now, but we hope we have set a goal at Landis Fire Department to try and come in at a level 2. Seems it's something that we can obtain. Level 1, we do not have the staffing, or probably will not be eligible due to the cost to have the staffing to ever meet a level 1 in the near future. However, with our record keepings and our funds that we've done recently, the level 2 should be hopefully granted to us, which will really help us here. So.
At this time, I would ask if any board members have any questions.
Lieutenant Sheets, I have a few questions, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
This item description list, is this by priority or just arbitrarily what is listed?
So the items that you have listed there for you on the spreadsheet, they are prioritized for us. We do have other needs that are not on this list. However, to make the most of the $30,000 and $30,000 match, this is what fit that priority list. And you'll see on there the SCBAs constitute the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the first 5 rows there on your spreadsheet. And thereafter that, we have incorporated some water rescue equipment that is also needed to take care of our Lake Courier Wilderness Park. At this time, we do not have any personal water rescue devices that we can even aid in the emergency. So that also took a priority there as well. And then the ones that follow that are in less priority but still match the appropriate slots for this grant.
Sure. And the price per each individual unit or item, is that new?
Yes.
Or is that
it is not allowed for the grant to be used for used items.
And can you explain, like you did to myself, and I think you did to Katie, I don't know if we were here at the same time for that this isn't something that it's already priced for you. You go in and you click. It is
right.
So what they have.
That's correct. So what Madam Mayor is explaining here is we can't just apply to get just anything. There is a select, it's actually an itemized list of about 300 different items that are appropriated that could be utilized for the grant. So it does not allow us to buy all necessary things that Landis Fire Department has. They actually select that in about a drop-down list of about 300. So that actually narrows it down. They really focus on personal protective equipment, which all the things that we have here, the top 10 line items here, are for personal protection equipment. That is what their number 1 priority in getting out to the fire departments are.
I think that's all for me right now.
Okay, so for me, I know that this is going to be something that is asked by either people sitting in here, could be asked by board members, or just citizens that are not able to be here tonight. On the last budget, there were items on there about rescue for the lake, and that was taken off, and it was kind of, I was on the backside. So for us, it was just that row-in rescue would come in, they would take care of that, do all the things like that. After going over there and walking the lake and seeing exactly how things are done, you know, the park closes at 8 p.m. You know, you can rent over there a nice little villa type cabin thing. You can spend the night. You know, you have a fire, gets a little out of hand, it's 10 o'clock, you've got to be able to get down there, okay? Let's say we decided 8 o'clock, it's dusk in the summer, we're going to go ahead and head out, we're going to do a little fishing in our boat. I understand that people think, oh, we'll just call the rescue squad, okay? Great services. But what about immediate? So if we could get these things with a grant where we're matching, guys, I think we should apply for it. You know, it's not going to necessarily hurt us to apply for a grant that can better our town. It might better your grandchild. It might better me. I think that we have to look at it in the sense of, what do we need for the facilities that we have? If it's your grandchild out there at a birthday party and something goes haywire, I need everybody on deck. You're going to want everybody on deck. So these are things that I want you guys to understand, and I think that we kind of talked about that Saturday. Just that there are things on here that may look like, oh gosh, we might not really need those. Right, but these items have been looked at. They know our needs. I think that any of our firemen, that if you come by here and talk to them, they know our needs of what we need, what's outdated, so that they can say, yeah, we do need these things because they're out of date come 2021, or they're out of date come 2020 in August. So I appreciate the fire department working on a grant for our town. I think that's great. Any other questions?
Shouldn't we get it in as quick as we can? Maybe that'd help facilitate some of the...
Oh, yeah, we'd love to get it.
That's what I said a while ago. Push the button.
Yeah, we'd love, like I said, we'd love to. Like I said, the grant actually closes at midnight there.
On March 1st.
On March the
Okay.
1st. And so, like I said, it's a click away from me. I've already loaded everything that you have in front of you to it. Mr. Barefoot and I spoke. We want, your support and approval with it, and then we'll absolutely click the button. Just know that, like I said, in the items there that we have, really and truthfully, whether the grant's awarded or not, there's no promises on that. It was something that we'll definitely have to look forward to. We have, just to give you an idea on those self-contained breathing apparatuses, we have 24 of those currently here at Landis Fire Department, 20 of those still being in service with a sundown date to end at the year 2021's end in 2022. Unfortunately, before they were purchased all at one time, so we didn't really have a staggered plan to get those. In previous administration, it was not a staggered plan, and so they kind of bit the bullet all at one time. And for you citizens that don't know, just kind of a fun fact for it is the air that we breathe off our back, as you know, is roughly about $8,000 per person to wear. And so that's kind of what we're looking at here. To get those, people don't realize that in order for us to go into a burning building, it's about $8,000 just to sit on your back so that we can actually breathe to go in and actually make rescue. Not along with the recent purchase that we got of the turnout gear, which has come in. It's beautiful. It's here. It's on display for y'all to come and see. It's a great quality. We're super happy with it. Looks good. It'll serve Landis Fire Department very well. So we encourage you to come by and see that. So along with this, regardless if the grant's awarded or not, it's something that we will have to progressively look forward to actually getting. And again, whether it be with the self-contained breathing apparatus or the water rescue equipment, they are all simply getting our foot in the door to still add on to that, because there is much more needed, but we are trying to take advantage of the grant process.
Let me ask them, could half of it be granted, or is it all? Like, could they pick?
Yes, ma'am, that's a good question. They could actually award $15,000 amount, they could do a $5,000 amount.
Okay.
Yes, that
Okay.
is a good question. They would go usually to our highest priority, which you can see what I've listed there.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be. It could be a minute amount, but yes, that is a good question. It
Okay.
could be. It does not have to be the full amount.
If you have enough air packs that are current, up to standards, can your old ones be available for spares?
No.
They want them out.
They want them out. They have a 15-year sundown date on the air bottles and stuff like that, whereas no one will allow you to hydrostatically test them or be refilled.
So you can't
on
have
that.
a spares and then it's out.
And so what's happening to us right now, Mr. Overcash, is the equipment is so outdated, can't even buy parts for it. I've got several, and I showed Alderwoman Sells and Ms. Smith the other day, some of those items that were actually deteriorating just due to their age. So we don't actually have the parts available, or we would even try to repair what we currently have, but it's not there. It's 20 some odd year old technology.
We have some, and you have spares.
No.
On hand?
No, sir. I
There
don't.
won't even be any spares.
No, sir.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. That's why we're getting down to the nitty gritty here on actually what we have on as far as the self-contained breathing apparatus.
And if we could get these, then we can start that stagger process. It's kind
Yes.
of like what we talked about when we did the turnout gear, that if you can get the process, then you get on those rotations, and then we're moving in the right direction as staggering things along to where it's not big hits all at one time.
That's correct.
Okay. I appreciate you coming and speaking to us. If I can get...
Mayor and Board, I move that we consider authorizing funding to support the fire department's grant application.
Have a second? Second. Any discussion?
No public at this time.
Tony? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Motion has passed. At this time, we will get a manager's report from Mr. Verda.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. I'm sorry I didn't get this written document done in time to go out in the agenda. Worked on it over the weekend, and I want to read or paraphrase from it for the benefit of the public, because I know the public is interested in where we are and where we're heading. Needless to say, things are busy here at Landis Town Hall. And I'll take this opportunity to bring the board and citizens up to speed on important issues facing the town. We're at the point in the fiscal year we're in, we should be ready to meet with the board in a retreat session to talk about where we are financially in order to begin discussions leading to the adoption of the upcoming fiscal year budget. To do so, we need mid-year financials, which we don't have. When they're provided to us by the outside CPA, I can assure you we'll begin that process. Vacant positions. Within Town Hall or upper management, we have 3. We currently have 7 applicants for the position of police chief, and I hope to have that position filled by April 1st. 2 positions in Town Hall are vacant: an administrative assistant to the manager and the assistant town manager position. The latter, which performed multiple duties and those related to planning. We've remedied that loss by temporarily contracting with InFocus for planning services. It is my plan to look at possibly adjusting one or both of these job descriptions to better serve our citizens. Hopefully one or both could be filled by late spring. Part of this decision will be based on an overall evaluation of our town hall staff and the effectiveness of our current operational procedures. I am pleased with the performance of the town hall staff as observed during the short period of time that I've been here, 1 month, last Friday. Pay issues. This is the one that is requiring the most energy on our part. Late last year, the town entered into an agreement with a new company to provide payroll services to the town. In preparation for transitioning to that company, staff has learned of issues that need to be corrected before the transition can effectively take place. An example is our current practice of accruing leave time on a monthly basis, whereas we pay our employees on a bi-weekly basis. For this and other issues that we have encountered, we're working diligently through the process to ensure the new payroll system will work correctly and effectively from day one of its installation. Getting it right will pay dividends going forward. Other daily issues. I just stopped on that one. There's just too many of them. Every day is a new adventure. And I say that with all sincerity. But we're getting them done, and I give a lot of credit to Diane. Somebody did a good job when they brought her here as finance officer. And I really thank her and the other staff members as well. I want to talk a bit about the manager search. It's been long said and often repeated that the most important task facing a governing board is that of selecting a new manager. Having worked previously in 10 municipalities facing such a task, I fully understand and support the logic behind that statement. Generally, it is best for the new manager to come aboard after the adoption of the fiscal year budget. The rationale is simple, being that he would be ill-prepared, or she would be ill-prepared to effectively contribute to the budget process with little or no experience in the new position and its surroundings. That certainly would be logical here in Landis, but even more so with events of last year that we all hope and expect will play out in the next month or so. With the board's blessing, it is my intent to use I put the word considerable, and I don't say that lightly. With the board's blessing, it is my intent with my considerable experience to help staff resolve the issues outlined above, as well as others that may exist, in preparation to give the next manager the absolute best chance to move the town forward on solid footing. With that said, I would recommend the board begin its effort to select a new town manager in April, with the hope of having that new manager on board in July or early August at the latest. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have.
Mr. Poyer? Mr. Evercash?
Amen.
Ms. Bales? Mr. Stewart?
None at this time. Thank you, Ms. Barefoot.
I do not have any questions. I can say thank you very much for the manager's report. I appreciate that very much. All right, at this time, we will now open to citizen comments.
Mr. Chair.
Nadine Cherry, 14 West Garden Street in Landis. I believe it was last Friday, and just, popped in and wanted to speak to the interim manager, Mr. Barefoot. And we spoke, and hopefully, that is going to be a starting of a process between him and I and the board to get some of these things that I've got remedied.
Great.
So, thinking about the weather last week, I'm just thankful that, we did not have any fatalities or, any destruction in the town.
Great. We're glad.
It's really something to think about. Because I've been thinking about that for a long time. It just seems like, everything goes good for us, like that, weather-wise. And I really appreciate and thank God that, He's watching after us. In other words, He sent the tornadoes for, not putting it off on anybody else, but, He knew where to send them. So,
Well, He spared us, Nadine. Well, thank the Lord for that.
I think there was one more thing, if I can think of it right quick. Well, I'm going to let it go because it's not going to come right now. Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Nadine.
please, Mr. Wax.
I want to let y'all know I got a deep voice. I'm not hollering. My wife's scared to death when I come up here and get something to eat off at me. My name's Ralph Lax. I live on 1140 Long Drive. I've been trying to get somebody down there to fix our road. We called. Nobody called us back. Said you'll call me back. Never called me.
I did call. Ron and I.
You did one time.
Yeah. Ron and I did come out there with Public Works and kind of been in a little bit of a transition. So we have spoken to Mr. Barefoot about that, and I believe you've been out there as well.
I've been out there at least 3 times, maybe 4.
Well, I'm gonna need a boat when you get one to get down there when it rains. I mean, it's bad. It's bad.
I have messages to call Mr. Wax, and I'll put the hard art off from being busy, because I am very busy. But it's not a simple answer. I'm not getting a simple answer on what the town's obligation is.
Right.
Leading to having been told that that it's not a street, it's a right of way, but it's not a street, and I just don't have a clear answer at this time. And rather than to me to go and say something that's not consistent with what the town's policy is, it's been difficult for me to figure out what to say.
And I'll be honest with you, that's what we don't know. We have one gentleman that says this way is this, and then we have one that says it's this, and
We're not asking you to pave the road. We just like having a hose fixed.
right. And aside from trying to figure out what the two previous town managers told public works directors to do, we're trying to figure out exactly what is to be done.
So they were doing it.
Right?
And then one fella come down and said, oh, it ain't been done. We ain't been doing it. I know you have. I'm not a liar. Okay? And then minutes say if her uncle, my wife's uncle paved it, Landis would take care of it. That's in the minutes.
Okay.
I mean, what is the minutes for?
You gave it to Mr. Barefoot or to Mr. Locklear?
No, Barefoot.
Mr. Barefoot, okay. So there's been paperwork given to Mr. Barefoot, and from the minutes, the meeting.
What year was that meeting, or what time?
Do you know when it was?
1985.
1985.
There's, I've looked at this a couple of days, and it's the same situation that I'm thinking about.
Off of Mount Moriah Church Road.
And the time that, if it's the same street, there are several maps that designate it as a private street. If there's been some modification or change in it, I'm not aware of it, but that's what my initial research revealed approximately 2 years ago.
But what is the minutes for? If the minute says it, what's the minutes for? I mean, if it ain't gonna go by it, trash it, don't, I mean, what's the minutes for?
To respond to your question, when it comes to real estate, it must be in writing, it must be recorded, and what I'm referring to are plats that have been recorded in the Register of Deeds office.
But you still ain't answered, what is the minutes here you got here for? If you don't go by what it is.
Right, so.
Depending on what the minutes say. It'll depend on what the minutes say.
Yes, so it depends on the wording of the minutes, and quite frankly, I didn't know that you had brought those. So, okay, so, and, I mean, do understand, I mean, there's been a lot of different things going on, we've had to.
I understand you got a lot on your table.
No, and you're just as much a priority as everything else, so that's what we're here for. But at the same time, we have to make sure that we do it right. Like, I need everyone to understand that in 1985, yes, things were done, but in 2020, I was born in 1985. So I have to go back and I have to look and say, okay, here's the wording. I have to get with Mr. Barefoot. Mr. Locklear's going to sit down, they're going to look at it. They're going to say, okay, here's the wording. What did we do from 1985 to 2019? And let's say, okay, we didn't do it here, we did do it here, we had this person in charge and they said go ahead and do it, but then we got this person in charge and they said let's not do it. we've got to figure out, and I'll just be real honest with you. I want to do it the right way.
Right.
Okay? I don't want to do it the illegal way. I don't want to go over to somebody's house and shake your hand and it be a bottomless deal. That's not my job, to come and to make a negotiation with you. I have to make sure that it's done right, it's done legally, and it's done by the books. So that's what we're going to do, and on your behalf, we will get with you. I promise you that I will get with you, and the two of them will sit down. We will get you an answer.
And we are in the city limits.
Yeah. Okay.
In the city limits, I'm paying taxes, I can't get nothing done down there. That's terrible.
I can, just on pure experience, I can tell you that typically, in my many years of experience, has been, especially back in the days when towns would expand their corporate limits and you brought in property that the roads were not public or not built to standards, the policy would typically be you maintain them in the standard that they are in when they're coming into the town limits.
Right.
I don't know whether yours came into town limits or whether you were already here, but that is fairly typical. And the width of the right-of-way is not sufficient to allow two-lane traffic. It's just not going to be easy thing to deal with.
So what you're saying really, you just ain't gonna do it.
Well,
That's the way I feel.
well, like I just said, we're not going to make a definite decision right here. I didn't know there were minutes from the meeting. We have not discussed this. I did tell him that there was a issue out there. Ron and myself rode out there. I like to at least see what you're talking to me about. There was an issue last month with some trees and some sewage issues. I want to go by that house. Mr. Farmer in the back, he's emailed me some pictures. I've been by there. I've been by there while it's raining. I want to be knowledgeable when you come up to ask me, but I can't make that decision without first talking to my town manager. Let's look at the policies, and we have to do it by the book. I'm just not at the place, and I think that everyone can understand that our town is not in the place to do things that are not legal at this point. And we will discuss that with you, whether it's in open session, in open meeting, if you would like us to. We can contact you, but we will contact you about this incident. I did not know about the minutes from 1985, and we'll have to look into that.
Okay.
I did have one question. When you go past your house, there's a road that's forks to the right, and it's really not much of a road.
It's really a driveway. Once it forks, that goes to a driveway down, and I used to belong to her uncle's.
They are not in the city limits.
No.
We're the last house in the city limits.
And then there's one that goes back around to the
If
left.
you go straight down, there's a right-of-way supposed to be for town of Landis goes off in there.
So when you are pulling onto Lawing Drive, and it really is like a horseshoe, correct?
Well,
in front of Eddie and Nancy's?
I don't know who Eddie and Nancy is.
Okay.
Really.
Sorry.
Gaines?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I'm driving down Lawing Drive and I take that left, Eddie and Nancy live right there to the right. So you're right here on the right-hand side, correct?
On down a little bit.
On down. So that is considered in the city limits, yes. But some of the issue is on farther down, correct, as well? Because it shifts down?
It's all in front of our house.
All in front of our house.
All in front of your house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right there, our
The
mailbox.
mail lady has to go through a
There's
big
a
old
big old
hole.
huge hole right in our mailbox. Mail lady got to go
And we
in
have
there.
tried to fill it and
Mhm.
everything. We've tried to help.
Right.
But it don't help.
Okay.
And now they're starting to build up their holes.
Right, with all the rain, I can imagine. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Lott.
Thank you.
Mark Cannell.
I'm impressed you pronounced it right. We were betting back here if he'd mispronounced my name since phonetically it's Connell.
You can thank my wife, she taught me how to read.
Good job. How's everybody?
You make sure that's on, Mark.
It is on, I think it'll be on. Can you hear me?
Yes, it's better.
There you go. I wanted to ask one question since we were talking about fire that came up before the other questions I had real quick. With the water rescue, do we have staff certified for water rescue on hand?
We do.
Okay, good job.
And we're getting more. But we
Okay.
have to have, unfortunately, to expand that,
Mhm.
we have to provide our own equipment for
Right.
any further training that we're wanting to do. They will not provide us with supply equipment in order
Charles,
to do
is there
that.
any way
Oh,
possible
they
that
couldn't hear you.
you could step to the podium and repeat that so that we have that on audio? I
Since
would-
we're trying to record it.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Connell's question was there certified personnel here to operate water rescue equipment? The answer to that is yes. To further that, we're looking to get more people certified. We'd actually like the whole entire department to be certified in that, but to go forth and get that certification, we have to have our own equipment in order to perform the training class that is offered both nationwide and statewide. But we have looked into that, and we would love to get that on the books and scheduled a preliminary training for that this summer. If we're awarded the grant or not, once we purchase the grant, we would like to get a basic water level class for those that do not have that. And then if we are eligible to one day purchase a rescue craft, whether it be by paddle or motorized craft, to get out into the water, we will then be updating our certification.
So that training was included in what you budgeted out for the match of the grant?
The training actually is going to come to us for free.
Okay.
We just have to have the equipment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Had a couple other questions real fast, try to make it as quick as possible. The other one, since we're on DOT, is I know with the interchange above the Oaks of Landis on Highway 29, I know that it's not finished completely, and I know that they'll hopefully restore the front entrance area that they have kind of, the DOT has kind of damaged for one of our neighbors' backyards facing Highway 29, which is not a good representation for our town by no means.
So the 29 entrance?
Yes, the front entrance, correct, on Highway 29. If you'll come out there and you'll look and see that it's been an eyesore since they worked on the project. And I can understand not completing it until then, but I do want to just remind the board to keep that in mind, because that neighbor has put up with a lot of flooding and issues in that, and a lot of damage too. And of course, some of the land got purchased off in that before this homeowner purchased it. So I just wanted to defend that fellow neighbor, the town of Landis, and hopefully just keep in mind, to remind the DOT, when they do finish that, is to finish that project all the way down and restore that entrance there, if they will, on Highway 29.
When this is over, if you don't mind either emailing me that citizens information,
I'll be glad
I would
to. Yeah,
appreciate
absolutely.
that, so that we can take that before
Absolutely.
the,
And I'm sorry, I cut you off, Mary.
no, that's fine, just so that we can take that when we go, Ashley and myself go to the MPO board.
Outstanding.
We have a meeting February 20th.
Okay. And my other question is, since the board mentioned that we had just cause for the firing of the former town manager, can you speak into what that was, or when will we as citizens hear the transparency of the just cause?
Not at this time, we cannot speak about that.
Do you have a time frame of when?
No.
Okay. Because I just know that as a town, that can cost us if we don't have that just cause, which we're trusting that we do have that. So that transparency, that
Absolutely.
would love to be heard sooner than later.
However, that was in closed session, and closed sessions are meetings that we have, and at this time, we cannot discuss it.
Okay. Just cause was stated in the open meeting when it came back to an open session. That's the only reason I'm bringing that up.
I understand, Mark. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Is that the last citizen?
That's it, other than the closed session. And if you don't mind, if you would, just for the convenience of the audience, can you make the motion to go into closed session, or at least afterwards, you can say that there won't be any action taken afterwards if people not hanging around.
Mayor and Board, I consider we go into closed session based under North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11, sections A and 3 at this time.
Do I have a motion?
And I just made that motion, so second needed.
Second, sorry. Any discussion? All in favor?
And just for the record, it's A3.
Yeah.
A3.
A3.
Not A.
Oh, A3.
That's what I said.
Okay. And there will not be any actions taken tonight, so if you guys want to hang around You're more than welcome to. Remember that the live feed is still on. It will pick you up rather nicely.
See, man. Tell them to look. Okay.
Come see me. Come see me. Yeah, sorry. How you? I'm doing well. How you are?
Well, we're really looking, honestly, just to find a small budget there. Is it still working? A few years ago, my brother used to be a assistant. I was the assistant with Kevin. Anyway, he was telling me, he said, "It's been a big rock truck." Right there at the Tabernacle Bridge, and they put that thing in at the wildlife at 2 o'clock in the morning until it was way up this day. I mean, wait for days. I've never heard. It make you think Jesus coming out. Yeah, Kevin's been my brother-in-law for 30 years. Good old boy.
Absolutely. I don't want to be complacent. And that was my whole money. But we can't be complacent now. Just because we got new things in there, we can't be any more complacent than we got to be as top of as we were last year. And not put it all on her shoulders.
You ready?
Now you bring it back in.
Ready to hit the road too.
They're not coming right in. Drake went outside.
What was it with you, brother?
Have a good night.
Whoa.
Mercy.
What was that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the ghosts.
Oh, well,
Thank you, Miss
Stay
Eddie.
here.
It's the ghosts.
I'll see you later. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, Mark.
He was at it again today, the square or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. What I done. Because the non-emergency man had dropped off my cell phone. So I come up here to the police station. And as usual, everybody had to go in at the notice. So I walked up to the phone to get the number to call. So I called. Got the guy in his phone, told frustrated, without telling you everything, told you what was going on.
Right.
I told him that I was at the police station, that I wanted to talk to an officer. And, I told him about driveway locks and stuff, twigs. He said, in the lane. I said, yes. So, anyway, my friends were short. As usual, I figured there was somebody in the police department. Don't know if it was shame or not, because when I had got back to the car, when I got back to the office, when we got there, anyway, the dispatcher told me to go down back home. And before I even got home, the car was going in and turning in.
His house?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like I say,
I wonder which officer that was, because I'd like to speak with him to see if...
I don't know if it was Porter or not, because...
I'll ask the chief young and see who was there, because...
No, I mean in the car.
Oh, they weren't pulling in down here at the residence. They were getting into...
No, we didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Once I left up there.
At the police department.
Yes, going back home. Then I saw the police car going down North Line and turned into his driveway.
Right.
And it wasn't a little bit. Till when I got in the house, he had made him get some water and put it out.
Right. I was wanting to know who the police officer was to see if I could figure out what they told him that they...
I'm not for sure, but I believe it was Porter.
Okay.
Because when I left this morning, about 2 tables of his work, see, I go by Porter's side, I think, because I saw lights and things. I think he was
I'll find out and see. I'd like to see what his reaction to it was, with the police department, because like I said, I kept all that stuff that you and I discussed. I have it in a file, and it's ready to hand him again if it's something that I see him doing as an action. I'm going to hand it to him and tactfully tell him about what it is. But I would hope if a law enforcement officer went out there that it would all be null and void.
No, because law enforcement's been out there before.
Well, I can make a note into the dispatch system that if it does happen again, that he'll have to be received a ticket for it. I know there's been a fair warning, and I've spoken to him, and I know obviously if a police officer's been out there, but if it happens that I need to put it in the CAD system or the dispatch, then was that today?
Yes. And I made sure that I let dispatch know. Now I lost my train of thought. That, this has been going on and on and on. And, I told him, I said, I'm just doing what I've been told, because I felt like I was getting caught between you and the police department, fire department, and, because I've been told, do this one, call this one, call it,
Like I said.
And I remember Reed telling me, why you let the police know, and I've still got all those DVDs.
Yeah, like I said, I don't mind ever going out and telling them, but, as far as it is, it is a law enforcement matter, so, but I kept the file with you and I talked about the safety. I think that needs to, I'd be glad I made enough copies to even hold them and have them, and read over them. It's the law, it is what it is, but I'm gonna find out from the chief young and see if I can figure out which officer went out there. And we'll just follow up and make sure. Because what I'll do is I can make an electronic notation on the dispatch that if it happens again, we'll just serve as any law enforcement officer that I've ever received. It's already been fairly warned multiple times.
I've got to go back to this one.
And then we'll just have to resolve it.
We'll see.
Something I can't write.
He got a ticket earlier last year, because that was by the animal control after that. So, but I didn't want to talk to you. I was hoping that was you because, you know, I don't think I had ever really seen. I didn't remember it. So I was hoping for that.
Lydia. Well, Alex, I appreciate you letting me know. I'll get the chief gun and so we went out there to make the proper rotation.
Well, see, I mean, it's just so aggravating for me to have to keep it, you know. They see it makes me wonder what our laws for, if we're not going to enforce them.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that badge don't give them no law enforcement power, but at least I hope they can sway a lot of people to do the right thing.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Rick gotta be in here to adjourn?
I don't think so.
No.
He don't have to be here? Ugh. Those fingers must stink. Rick want to be here, Jay?
No, but we'll wait on Mr. Merrick.
Oh, that's right.
Rick's got to get on to it and iron his shirts.
Courtney.
Yeah.
No,
I'm the only one here.
They kept talking about on TV, they said it was raining bad in the clouds and you couldn't see them.
Mayor and Board, I move we come out of executive closed session back into open meeting.
Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
No, ma'am, not at this time. I also now would like for us to consider a motion for adjourning tonight's meeting.
Second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? Any against? Good night.
This is a good point,